Vice Chief of the Defense Forces of the Republic of Kenya, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the African Union Commission, I want to warmly extend deep appreciation to the organizers of this seminar and the government of Kenya for hosting and associating the African Union with this strategic annual conference. It is important to demonstrate the changing nature of peace operations and the challenges that come with them. The African landscape and that of global peace and security have been constantly changing due to pervasive and extensive threats to international peace and security. It is for this reason that the African Union wishes to re-emphasize the urgency in adapting, building resilience to be able to address this plethora of security challenges. What has been the African response to this growing number of conflicts and security threats on our continent? How has the AU been able to mandate and deploy peace support operations where needed? I want to assure you at this conference that over the past 2 decades, the African Union has been associated in mandating, leading, or coordinating 13 peace operations. Permit me to mention just a few. The first, which is still currently going on, is the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia, ATMIS, the multinational joint task force in the Lake Chad Basin area against Boko Haram MNJTF. The Southern African Development Community Mission in Mozambique, SAMIM, and recently the East African Regional Force in Eastern DRC. These peace operations have the full backing of the African Union Peace and Security Council. For this, we have deployed resources from partners, and recently, for the first time, the African Union, using the Peace Fund, has also supported the ATMIS with $2 million from the Crisis Reserve Facility and another $2 million from the same facility under the Peace Fund for Eastern DRC. Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, you will agree with me that a critical factor in the operations of peace support missions is financing. And that is why our leaders, when they gathered at the 40th session of the Peace and Security Council under the leadership of President Cyril Ramaphosa of the Republic of South Africa on the 17th of February 2023, here in Addis Ababa, re-emphasized the need to fully operationalize and use the African Union Peace Fund. It is for this reason that I've said that $4 million so far has been disbursed from the Peace Fund to the East African Community Mission in Eastern DRC and to ATMIS. This is therefore critical to emphasize that adequate, flexible, predictable, and sustainable financing should not be elusive for us to be able to build the Africa that we want, that is peaceful and secure and also prosperous. It is clear that no single organization can provide the appropriate response without adequate resources. The current UN focus on peacekeeping and protection of civilians is inadequate to meet the changing needs of peace operations and indeed the changing needs of peace agenda. Therefore, we call on this seminar to probe deeper into a paradigm shift from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. It is only peace enforcement that will be able to effectively counter terrorism and violent extremism, as well as radicalization that has been spreading like wildfire, particularly in the Sahel, Lake Chad Basin, Libya, and Southern Africa in terms of Mozambique. It is therefore important to look at building the necessary integrated capacity of member states and the regional communities that will be able to withstand the onslaught of violence from many of the non-state armed groups. We see the need for also concurrently, in addition to the PSOs, the peace support operations, the need to build and adapt a whole of society approach where women political empowerment and youth inclusion with the protection of the rights and welfare of children will lead to building very stable societies on our continent. Global solidarity is therefore critical. Working with intercontinental and bilateral partnerships for solidarity that is enduring. The African Union is assuring all stakeholders that financing and adequate support to AU peace operations is indeed a global good. It is important that we work towards promoting the nexus between peace, security, governance, and sustainable development. Building and supporting peace initiatives must be anchored on the requisite capacity for member states, for regional economic communities, regional mechanisms, and indeed the civil society. Permit me to also re-emphasize that comprehensively we are looking at the threats of security from the perspective of cybersecurity, the latest in artificial intelligence, the latest with the drone technology, and protection of the high seas. It is not only on land that terrorism thrives. The Gulf of Guinea, the Indian Ocean, the Mediterranean should equally be protected by the collective security and robust response from the Malabo Extraordinary Summit of the African Union, heads of state and government. It is for this reading that permit me to highlight that the African Union commissioned the Department of Political Affairs, Peace and Security has come up with the concept of a continental joint naval exercise that is geared towards upscaling maritime security for development of the blue economy and protecting our high seas. At the same time, during the year that African Union has identified the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area as a critical component of our prosperity agenda, it is necessary that this joint exercise, tagged Amani 3, which will hold, hopefully, before the end of the year, will be able to demonstrate that the nexus between peace, security, intra-African trade, and sustainable development is a possibility. We must leverage new technologies. We must, as African Union, we must tap into the appropriate technologies to be able to counter cross-border crimes and especially deal with cybersecurity and other challenges. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, let me end by assuring you that we see a lot of value addition in this African Security Sector Conference. It is a complementary platform that speaks to the comparative advantages of promoting peace that is durable in the framework of private and public partnerships. It's a model in real value given the desire for smart partnerships being promoted by the African Union. I want to use this opportunity again to thank the organizers and the government and people of Kenya for using this platform to better inform the future of the Africa we want, where the rights of women and children and the youth are protected and promoted, where peace will lead to dividends for stability and for progress. I thank you so much.